Your Country 1039 KGRT, Josh Turner and Hometown Girl.
Time now for your question of the day. Brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Markets of Las Cruces. Fresh produce, bread, meat, honey, food trucks, handmade art, music, and more. Every Saturday and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. downtown Las Cruces.
That's right. Time for our question of the day. And believe it or not, no, not going to talk about the big game coming up this weekend. Not yet, anyway. But I am going to talk about the fact that today is Homemade Soup Day. That's right. It's Homemade Soup Day. So it is a good day for soup. And according to voters at Ranker.com, so they went ahead and voted on the best soups out there. Obviously, chicken noodle won out, number one. Tomato also came in second there. Beef stew, French onion, chicken, cream of potato, chili con carne, clam chowder, chicken dumpling, and ramen in there for your best soups ever. At least according to the voters at Ranker.com, right? But what about you? And no, our question does not have to do with your favorite soup, but it's a question when I saw a couple of these on the list, like beef stew or chili con carne right there. And it got me thinking, are stews and chilies soup? Now, under the umbrella of what soup is, nice warm bowl of whatever, yeah, I would be considered a soup. But is it technically a soup? Well, there are different categories for the stews and chilies. Stews more like meat, vegetables, more like a gravy sauce than it is a soup. While, of course, soups are normally watery. And chili, well, that's its own category in itself. But technically, still a soup. So I ask you, do you think stews and chilies should be under the category of soup? Or are they their own category? That's our question of the day. It's a little silly, but, these questions must be asked and answered. Let me know your answers by calling them in or texting them in at 575-523-KGRT, 575-523-5478. And, of course, we are live on our social media pages, Facebook and YouTube, so you can leave your comments there as well. And let me know if you think that stews and chilies are soup. Personally, technically, I think they are, and I do enjoy a good stew and a good chili, on a nice cool night. In fact, a nice little spicy potato soup in there. Spicy sausage in the potato soup, that's good stuff. But let me know your answers. Are stews and chilies soup? Let me know your answers for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. Okay, all of that stuff is taken care of right now. And what about a chowder? Yeah, technically, would a chowder still be considered a soup? That's a good question right there. What about a chowder? That's a good question. Does that also count as a soup? Makes me wonder. I'm going to tell you this right now. I do enjoy a good soup. A good, thick and chunky chicken noodle soup is like one of my favorites. Tomato basil as well. There's a certain restaurant in town. I won't mention any of particular names. Great tomato basil soup. I do love a good beef stew as well. In fact, all of those top 10 right there, I'm not necessarily a fan of French onion, but still it's not too bad. And ramen has so many different varieties right in there. It's definitely, all of that stuff is good stuff. But when you're looking at the composition right there, are stews and chilies considered soups? In the overall category, maybe, but they do have their own special categories as things. And thank you for mentioning that. Chowders as well. Are chowders a soup? Makes me wonder. So definitely make sure that you let me know your answers for that. And you can call them in. You can text them in And that way we can go ahead and figure out, are indeed chilies and stews and chowders considered soups? I feel like I need to be more centered over here. Yeah, we'll do that. And yeah, let me know your answers. In the meantime, we will go ahead and see what's going on in and around the world. Since we are getting closer and closer to the big game, you can't avoid the news. Apparently, John Bon Jovi will introduce the Patriots at the Super Bowl, while Chris Pratt will introduce the Seahawks. Ticket prices are dropping by 30% just days before kickoff entry. So entry-level tickets are now $4,600, and that's down from $6,500. So yay, save a couple of $1,000s there. Also, a new survey by YouGov reveals that half of Americans plan to watch the big game, with slightly more supporting the Seahawks over the New England Patriots. Half of the Americans will watch at least some of the events of the Winter Olympics, because remember, Winter Olympics start up on Friday. In particular, figure skating will be the most popular event there. And since we are into the month of February, Papa John's is back with their heart-shaped pizzas in honor of Valentine's Day. In fact, there's a couple of places that do heart-shaped pizzas, and those are pretty cool because they usually donate to some other charities in there. Companies behind Cheetos, Tostitos, and Doritos plan to lower prices. Consumers can expect 15% drop in prices. I wonder if that means 15% drop in packaging. I'm just curious. And apparently, Shaw Foods has launched a new line of SpongeBob SquarePants ramen noodle cups. The limited edition lineup features flavors like SpongeBob Ready for Ramen, Squidward Show-Stopping Shoyu, and Patrick Miso Hungry. And the cups are vegan, no added MSG, and so they're good for you. Yeah. And Sherry Shepherd's daytime talk show has been canceled after 4 seasons. And you may have heard Kelly Clarkson's show is not picked up for another year. So this will be her last season. One person just sent me a text that says, I think they should just leave it alone. There are better things to worry about, but sometimes you get there. If I really wanted to go there, of course, there's a hot dog, a sandwich, or is the ocean just a giant soup? Huh? That's for our seafood fans out there. But right now, I'm asking you the question today. Are stews and chilies considered soups? Of course, today is homemade soup day, so it is a good day to maybe grab a bowl of your favorite. If I had to choose my favorite that I probably eat the most, it is a good beef stew. A friend of mine made a beef stew that was absolutely delicious and has not been able to replicate that since. So it's kind of a shame, but I do enjoy a good beef stew. And on really cold, cool nights, that, like I said, that spicy potato and sausage soup right there, which technically I guess could be more of a chowder. I don't know. Let me know your answers. Leave your answers down below for our question of the day today. Are stews and chilies soup? Your question of the day brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts